LeVar Ball just lost my support. At first, Ball's outrageous comments and claims were entertaining but harmless. But like any attention monger, his words have grown more venomous as the spotlight has increased. His latest comment isn't cute or entertaining, it's just plain racist. And his son Lonzo should have a respectful but firm talk with his father about his future and how his actions could potentially impact his brand. The Ball and the UCLA Bruins were beaten in the Sweet 16 by the Kentucky Wildcats in the NCAA tournament. And on Thursday, Ball offered this analysis and explanation for the team's loss. He said, realistically, you can't win no championship with 3 white guys because the foot speed is too slow. I told Lonzo one of these games you might need to go for 30 or 40 points. It turned out that was the one game. Then once they get to the Elite 8, they're right there. Close quote. There is nothing cute about racism. And no, white basketball players are not fair game for stereotypes. I'm irritated whenever I hear black quarterbacks have their leadership and other intellectual qualities questioned. And we have to realize that this really is no different than that. Having a white wife, as LeVar does, doesn't give you a pass. The same way a white person having a black spouse or black friends doesn't give license to use the N-word and racial stereotypes about African Americans. That doesn't give LeVar the right to say what he said. LeVar tried to clean up his comment a day later on ESPN 710, in Los Angeles. And he said, I love those guys. I'm not saying I don't like the white guys and we lost because of them. No, that's how they twisted it up. I love Bryce because he's Alfred's son and he's always been nice to me. TJ Leaf, Zoe's friend, always nice and respectful. Thomas Welsh, one of the most intelligent players, very nice, respectful. But like I said, they're going to do their thing and we're going to do our thing. So don't wear your feelings on your sleeve and think it's a different punch at you, a direct punch at you guys, because it's not. In my opinion, it's too late, LeVar. If we're being honest, no one considers Ball an authority on hoops. He's essentially made himself a clown, so to speak. He's made himself a clown who is being exploited for cheap sound bites, but he's apparently too in love with his own substanceless and short-lived relevance to stop the circus act. I'm always a proponent of respecting parents, even when they're being ridiculous, but Lonzo needs to ask his father to stop speaking on his behalf and to take into consideration the potential consequences of his words. After all, Lonzo is the one that's headed to the NBA, not LeVar. Ultimately, Lonzo is going to be the one that's on the hot seat the next time LeVar runs off at the mouth. Does LeVar not realize this, or does he just not care? Now, in the words of Ice Cube from Boys in the Hood, either he don't know, he don't show, or he just don't care about what goes on with his son's brand. The previous comments that he'd been making could be dismissed as comical and harmless, but racism definitely ups the ante. This is the type of thing that could wind up being fuel for questions from NBA general managers during the pre-draft process. And sneaker companies and other potential sponsors could be hesitant to attach themselves to anyone with the Ball name. We could argue this apprehension is unfair, but when has reality ever cared about fairness? I know it's very difficult for a son to address an unruly parent, and I wouldn't advise him saying what LeBron James said to his mom once when she got out of line. I think we remember that. But there's a way to say the same thing without disrespecting your father. Lonzo may not yet be bothered by his father's comments, but it's hard to imagine him not getting to a point when he feels the pressure from the conga line of nonsensical rhetoric that spews from his father's mouth. LeVar Ball has to have heard the criticism from the sports world, but he clearly isn't listening to them. Maybe if his son asks him nicely, he'll take heed. I appreciate you watching as always. God bless. If you want to read this article, I wrote it for Forbes.com. You can go ahead and take a look at it. The link is in the description.